The Librarian and the Ghost. Eleanor had always loved books and silence. As a young librarian, she spent most of her days surrounded by dusty tomes and whispering patrons. The old library on Main Street was her sanctuary, where she could escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life. One evening, as she was closing up shop, Eleanor noticed something peculiar. A faint light flickered at the edge of her vision, near the stacks. She approached cautiously, wondering if it might be a stray reflection or a trick of the dim lighting. As she drew closer, the light took on a life of its own, coalescing into a figure. Eleanor gasped as a ghostly apparition materialized before her. He was tall and gaunt, with piercing blue eyes that seemed to bore into her very soul. His face was pale, with dark circles under the eyes, giving him an otherworldly appearance. For a moment, they simply stared at each other. Eleanor's heart pounded in her chest as she tried to make sense of what she was seeing. The ghost, Thomas, didn't seem hostile but rather lonely. As the days passed, Eleanor found herself returning to the library every evening, hoping to catch another glimpse of Thomas. She began to sense that he wasn't just a figment of her imagination. There was something palpable about him, as if he longed for connection. One night, she decided to take a chance and speak to him. "Thomas," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the ticking of the old clock. The ghost turned toward her, his eyes locking onto hers. For an instant, Eleanor felt like she was drowning in their depths. Then Thomas spoke, his voice low and gravelly. "Ah, you can see me," he said, his tone tinged with a hint of longing. Eleanor nodded, feeling a shiver run down her spine. "Yes, I can, and I'm glad." As the days turned into weeks, Eleanor found herself reading to Thomas every evening. She'd sit at the circulation desk, and he'd float beside her, listening intently as she brought stories of adventure and romance to life. Thomas's presence became a comforting fixture in Eleanor's daily routine. She began to sense that their bond was growing stronger with each passing night. It wasn't just about reading together. It was about sharing moments, laughing and crying together. One evening, as they sat amidst the stacks, Thomas turned to Eleanor with an unspoken question in his eyes. She smiled, understanding exactly what he meant. "I think you're stuck here," she said gently. "I've been trying to figure out why." Thomas's gaze dropped, and for a moment Eleanor thought she saw a glimmer of despair. "I was trapped," he whispered. "A century ago. I didn't mean to stay so long, but there's no one to talk to, no one who sees me." Eleanor's heart went out to this lost soul. She knew exactly what it meant to feel invisible, to be trapped in a world that seemed to have moved on without you. Together, they worked tirelessly to unravel the mystery behind Thomas's imprisonment. Eleanor pored over dusty tomes and ancient texts, searching for answers. And when she finally found a way to free him, Thomas looked at her with tears in his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice trembling. "But I think I'd rather stay." Eleanor's heart skipped a beat as she realized what Thomas was saying. He wanted to remain by her side, even if it meant giving up eternity. Thomas's ghostly form began to fade, and Eleanor felt a pang of sadness. But then he smiled, a radiant, warm smile that lit up the entire library. "I've found something worth waiting for," he said, his voice filled with conviction. "You, Eleanor, you're my home now." As they sat together in the quiet darkness, Eleanor realized that love had transcended time and mortality. It was worth more than eternity itself. From that day forward, Thomas's presence became a beacon of hope in the old library. Patrons would whisper stories of the ghostly librarian and her eternal companion, who had found a way to bridge the gap between worlds. And Eleanor knew that as long as she had Thomas by her side, nothing could ever truly separate them again.